Thank you for that analysis, Ed Conway, there in central London. Let's speak to Alfred Quantrill, who's president of Young European Movement UK. Alfred, thanks so much for making the time to speak with us this morning. I guess you're very keen on there being this agreement for a youth mobility scheme, as we're told. That has been put off a little bit to talk about it a bit more in a bit more detail. What's your sense as to whether or not we will end up getting an announcement on that youth mobility?
So I am really hoping that we do. I think it's somewhat unclear at the moment exactly the structure the youth mobility scheme is going to take. I think a lot of people in the EU, and certainly us at the Young European Movement, we're really hoping to see something around Erasmus+. I think at the moment a lot of structure for young people to take opportunities that were once available has been lost. And so I think it's really important that the government not only has this youth mobility scheme, which allow people to go and work, go and travel, but also tap back into that Erasmus Plus network as part of a youth mobility scheme to ensure that the education and training opportunities, and this is not just for middle-class students, but so much of Erasmus Plus and the capacity that we could get from a youth mobility scheme is about internships, apprenticeships, horticulturalists going to the Netherlands, lawyers doing their training, engineers, electricians going abroad to Europe, these things that we once had. Young people in the UK are really stifled at the moment, I think all of us feel, in terms of our opportunities. And so being able to broaden out and go to Europe and get the kind of training, education, cultural experience we once had, I think is really important. It will have an impact on the economy, like we were just hearing. It's not going to be huge, but I think in terms of the individual impact this can make on young people's lives, the individual stories we can get from people being able to travel and upskill is really huge, really important. And so we're really hoping to see an improvement here.
Alfred, I appreciate you framing it in that way, because I think it's probably important. Our viewers may have heard a couple of times this Erasmus scheme, Erasmus Plus, this morning, but perhaps have no idea what that actually means. Can you just take us through what the Erasmus scheme was and what we'd look for it to be if it were to come back properly? Sure.
So the Erasmus scheme originally was just a kind of student exchange programme, but the EU has massively broadened this out now. So about 85% of billions of euros goes on upskilling and training young people up to the age of 30 to move across the EU. So this is a kind of unilateral programme that we can tap into and get access to a lot of funding to not only allow for university students to go and study elsewhere, but for, as I was saying earlier, internships, structured training, vocational training is a really huge, important part of this. And I think youth mobility schemes are great, but the fact that the Erasmus scheme, something we can receive a lot of benefit for, gives that kind of structure to young people. It really helps a lot. Maybe young people who feel lost, don't know where they're going to go next with their lives. The Erasmus scheme can give a really clear, direct opportunity for these people to go out, get training, get skills, and get into the workforce in a really productive and advantaged way.
And Alfred, I don't know if you heard my conversation a little while ago with Brendan Chilton, who was a former General Secretary of Labour Leave. He said that any sort of discussion around a youth mobility scheme runs up against the government's stated aim to bring down migration. I mean, how do you answer that sort of charge from those who are concerned about a youth mobility scheme? So I would say, for a start, there's been discussions around one in, one out. So if that was implemented, there would be very clear net zero migration on that. I think it's also important to emphasise that a lot of people in the UK want to go out to Europe. So even if we get people coming in here, there will be huge numbers of people, young people in the UK who want to go to the EU. They want to get these experiences, for example, you know, in travel industries, all these industries that people want to go out to, like they used to, and now they don't have the chance to. So I think, yeah, it's true. We will get European people coming here, presumably high-skilled people who are ambitious. They want to train, they want to learn, they want to work here for a brief time. And it's really important to emphasise as well that this would be a time-limited scheme. So there's no people coming here with family members, children, claiming benefits or whatever. None of that is going on here. This is a clearly time-limited scheme for working, for training. And I think that would just be an absolute net benefit to not only youth in the UK who really deserve these opportunities that their peers in Europe have, but European youth who want to come here and fill the gaps in our economy as well. All right, Alfred Quantrill, from the president of the Young European Movement UK and a student from Bristol. Appreciate your time, Alfred, and all the best to you. Thank you. Thank you.